Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you gotta get spotted. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning. It is the 3rd. How are you going? I'm waiting for the GME screen to go green before... No. Well, let's see here. They're down 1% right now. I don't know. So first of all, I think that the biggest backdrop that I'm seeing today is that we had Google earnings yesterday. They were very good. Google is up like 7% right now, I think. And it's a Wednesday, and Wednesday tends to have a lot of action, right? So then we come back over here, and there is some wider optimism across the board, simply because these Reddit trade here, particularly as it pertains to Gamestop, just really, I mean, look at the chart, man. Yesterday was just an absolute bloodbath. Robinhood opening trading back up, causing this little spike up here. But you can see here's like the spike and then the short-term regime change after the buying, and then it just kind of going flat. Today, there are restrictions on GME, so that should help. Some buyers saying like this should make it easier for us to pump the price again or whatever. And remember yesterday when we were looking at this in GameStop, remember we were saying, well, if they can get over this spike that happened in the morning, then that could maybe flip things around and get the trend going back up again. But they couldn't do that. So yeah, that trade looks pretty ugly. Also, so then let's come back and look at the rest of the markets, shall we? So first thing, I should really start with the dollar, because the dollar is looking pretty strong right now. I mean, it's retraced up here quite a bit over the week. And every time that we come in here in the morning, it's looking strong. And it's just, it doesn't seem like there's any particular reason other than that it's just doing well compared to its peers, particularly the euro. So then when we come down in here into our volume profile, so you can see here in the E-mini, really solid jump yesterday that we got off of the open. And now pretty flat since then. So I'm sure that a lot of this had to do with people anticipating the Google earnings, isn't it? We can also see that the ES is doing weak compared to the NASDAQ as such, and is actually doing pretty well compared to the Russell. So the larger caps are doing a little bit better today. And when we come into the Treasuries continue to push lower. Now, it was interesting because yesterday, we had that big move down in the pre-action, but it didn't go anywhere during the whole session. Now, today, they're heading down again. It looks like the spread is steepening again, which is good for our banks. Oil OPEC is going on right now. Looks like they're bullish. They have an OPEC video conference. We got to get over in here into gold. So yesterday, gold and silver have just really diverged. It's really quite funny. But gold didn't do so hot yesterday. They still look like they have pretty good consolidation in here though. And it is pointed up. The metal complex is slightly higher. Here we get this monster from yesterday. So Monday, we had a huge gap because of people going and buying physical silver. The futures have come down. I will note that there was like a big divergence between people buying the actual silver and what is going on in the trading market, and they have diverged somewhat. A bunch of people were making a big deal over, that they raised the silver margins and stuff. And from my perspective, like, it doesn't matter, because that's not where the buying was coming from. It was coming from people literally going out to, their local stores and buying, silver coins. Meanwhile, the U.S. Mint has said that they can't, they're out of coins. Now, this has happened before. I remember this was 2010 when I had just started with Goldman Sachs, and everybody was like, oh, the gold trade is going on. Gold's going to replace the dollar, all of this. And I was like, nah, and I just kind of ignored it. But it was good for the gold and silver trade. And I still think, despite Reddit poo-pooing that trade and saying that it was just a distraction from GME, I still think it looks like a good trade. So we'll see where silver goes from here. If they are able to make some bull movement and make their way back towards 27.5, then that might look really, really nice. And who knows, maybe they'll turn around and pump silver later. We'll see. If it gets going, it's hard to see them ignoring it. Copper, here you can see. It didn't do so well yesterday. We saw that when we came in the morning, recovering a little bit. And it sounds like things in Asia and China are going a little bit better. So that's where we got going right now. Do you think it's worth it to open an AMC long at this point? I don't know. I mean, that's too specific of a question for me to really answer, because that would almost be like financial advice, right? I will say, though, when we look at it, AMC is up 256. I mean, let's just go back to this trade. I mean, I know that we've gone through this chart like a trillion times, but what happened? Okay, well, this was, let's see here. So this is Tuesday, Monday, Friday, Thursday, right? So Thursday was when they restricted trading, right? So it was just taking off. It was going, and then here Robinhood said you can't buy more shares, and that just absolutely killed the trade. It went down all the way to 100 at one point, coming back up, and then that overnight, moving back up, man. Moving back up. And then what happened here? Here was when the S3 numbers came out, and the S3 numbers suggested that a significant number of shorts had covered. Okay. Now when I first started hearing this, first I looked at the numbers and I said, well, I think that people are misreading the number, but I also didn't believe the number. And I'm really been like racking my mind over this. Like, why did I react that way to it? It's kind of funny, because this is exactly the reason that I don't like trading stocks as much, is that it seems like it always comes down to some piece of information that I don't have. You know what I mean? But anyways, it seems like the correct choice was the short squeeze has already happened and sell. I mean, maybe that's not true. I'm not going to say that it's true or not true, but that is, trading off of that was the correct decision. Okay, well, so now that we're at that spot, we kind of have to reassess. So if we assume that the market's reading of that and that the S3 numbers are correct, that means that there are still a really significant number of shorts in GameStop, but that it's not over 100%. Because they were saying that it was now like 50, 56 or something like that percent of the float. And of course, surely some people went short yesterday too. I mean, that just like really got blown away, right? Now, there's still possibility for further squeeze, potentially. Like, there's still enough shorts to cause a short squeeze. It's just not nearly as good as it was before. But then when you start thinking about that, then it's like, well, yeah, but will they be able to get back over 500? Well, probably not. Probably not. But like nobody on Reddit thinks that. What I'm just saying to you is like what the chart seems to say to me. But when you go on Reddit, none of them say that. They all say diamond hands and yada yada yada. I think that some of them are messing with you, to be honest with you. I see so much misinformation on there. And I will tell you, the one that drives me crazy the most is this short ladder nonsense. And I know that it doesn't make me a popular person because over there, it's like everybody is convinced this is all just manipulation. It's all just short ladders. It's not a thing, guys. Like, yes, short ladders happen, but there is no way that you would be able to pull off a strategy like that in a market this active, okay? If it's just you and your buddy, and you're like literally the only two people trading that security, and it's like a penny stock, then yeah, like a short ladder thing makes sense and it happens. But in the most heavily traded security in the world right now, nah, no way. You don't have that much control over price, because if you and your buddy are just trading back and forth across the thing, anybody else can come in and buy it or put a big bid in, and it screws up the whole thing. The fact of the matter is this: there has been more aggressive selling than there has been buying. The buyers have disappeared because they couldn't trade on Robinhood. They're not looking at it anymore, and they're not buying aggressively like they did before. They're letting it come back down into them. That is like the only possibility. Like, that's how, when you look at the market microstructure and you look at all of this, the short ladder thing, it's nonsense. And I'm honestly starting to believe, of course, I have no proof of that, but I look at that and how aggressively it's pushed and everything, and I'm thinking this is what the smart traders on Wall Street Bets are using to keep you guys holding the bag so that they can get out. That's what it looks like to me. Just being honest on that one. So the inherent weakness of group trading, social pressure, doesn't lead to good decisions. Yeah, it doesn't. It seems like, the issue that I think when you get into groups is this. When you have information comes out, they're pretty good at picking up on what is the best piece of information and disseminating it to everybody and getting you all on the same page. That was very much the case early on here in GME, right? But then what happens is you get, like, when it goes against you, right? Because the people tend not to believe what they believe because it's correct and there's evidence. They tend to believe what they want to believe because it's in line with what they want. It's aligns with what they want. And so when things start going poorly and there's not new information, then what they start doing is they start searching around for any explanation that can possibly be in line with what they want to think. And so then they become extremely prone to misinformation. Extremely prone to misinformation. And that's what it looks like is going on in GME right now. Now, today, there's short selling restrictions. So if we don't get some buying today, if we have another day like yesterday, I'm saying that the GME trade is done. Even though I think that you'd still want to see next Tuesday how many shorts are really in, and granted, what we get next Tuesday will just tell us, you know, what it was yesterday. But if they can't hold it today, I think that whole trade is dead, and they're going to give up on it at that point. Marlon, I'm about to subscribe to your Patreon. Do you post frequently on there? So all I post on the Patreon is the Bitcoin chart. So I post my chart with my model of Bitcoin and my thoughts on the macro framework around Bitcoin. I post almost every day, although lately I haven't had anything to say every day, so it's been posting more like 2 or 3 times a week. But I do post there pretty regularly. Anytime that something significant is going on, I post there. But if you want to subscribe to the Patreon, then you do it for the Bitcoin charts. Now, if you subscribe to the YouTube, and I'm kind of trying to move over to doing everything through the YouTube, I just think that that's like way more convenient. But you click the join button down below, and when you join that one, you get access to some secret rooms in Discord. First of all, although that's still like really small, so they aren't super active or anything. And you get access to the indicators. And you can always email me and ask me any questions about the indicators or if you have problems. I'm sure that people will find bugs and stuff, you know. That's why, like right now, I have like maybe 3 people using them, which is okay because, you know, I tested them for months. I didn't have any problems, but I'm sure that other people are going to have problems. And, you know, it does seem like some explaining what they actually are doing is... I've written some documentation. I know. Go and read the documentation on that on speculatorseth.com, and I have a link there, detailed documentation. You tell me what you think about it. It's easy to see the Horde has power. What you don't know is what every person in the Horde is doing. Telling everyone in the Horde to hold while you liquidate is a good strategy, sure. Now to the larger trade, I really think I see a lot of people making these, like, you know, gut check reactions to what's going on. And here again, I don't think that the reactions that they're posting are reactions based on facts and logic, but based on what they want to believe. So there is a large group of people that believe quite adamantly that there's no way to win the game, and that the Wall Street people are completely in charge, and that you could have known that this was going to happen simply because there's no way that they would ever let the hedge funds lose, and yada, yada, yada. And these people are not as strong as they think they are, and so on and so forth. I don't think that that is in line with the facts. So here's the facts, okay? Retail traders came in and pumped this thing up almost solely all by themselves, all the way to 500. They got to 500 without any short squeeze. Like, it looks like Melvin Capital was covering that day when it went from 125 to 350 or whatever. That was when they were covering. All of that action before that, that was all retail, guys. And if retail gets involved in a stock, it becomes the most heavily traded security in the world, whatever one it is. So to say that they don't have power, they absolutely have power. If all the retail traders focus on one asset, there is nothing that Wall Street can do about it other than shut down the trading. Right? They can't fight against that flow. And this is in line with our understanding of market microstructure. There are market makers and there are informed trades, and the retail traders tend to be the informed trades, the people coming in thinking that they know something, and the citadels of the world, their entire model here is to determine when those people are flooding in so that they can adjust their market making accordingly. Okay? So I don't think you can say that the retail horde doesn't have any power. They have a ton of power. But there's a really big problem with the retail horde right now, I think, and it is this. They think that the whole game is about creating execution impact. That they say, if you buy, it will move up. And then it moving up will get other people to see that it's going in. And so they will also buy, and it will just kind of have an exponential effect. Well, that might be true if it's something that like nobody knows about and it's a good trade and you get loud and bring more people in, sure. Creating more interest in a stock, sure. That's an edge, it seems to me. Like if you can attract more attention to a stock, that's an edge. But once it's a popular thing, your execution impact, realize, is a disadvantage. You get in, it's moving without you, and then when you get out, it's going to move twice as hard back down. And that is exactly what you see here in GameStop, right? As they buy it, and then when those people sell, it goes down twice as hard. And so the net impact is of that meta order is that you lose money, and they have to realize that. Because otherwise they're always going to overextend and screw up at the top, like is happening in GME. Now, with all that said, I really still think that the GME trade could have worked out if Robinhood hadn't screwed up. So we'll see. Help me understand why the chart of GME and AMC look almost the same. It seems weird to me. Well, it's probably because the robots that are trading that sort of thing, which are probably a majority of the action at this point because people couldn't trade it until yesterday, are trading them as correlated. I mean, look, it's not just GameStop and AMC. The largest, so like the hedge fund favorite longs is almost an exact mirror of GameStop. So when GameStop is going down, that goes up. The robots have picked up on the correlation. Can you apply the square root equation to GME? Well, so that's where I'm saying if we're going to draw a picture here, right? So remember that you have a square root impact. That means that the larger your meta order is, there is a point at which the impact you get bigger and the impact that you have is still the same. Okay, so what happened here? We had the largest meta order you can get, and it's like this, okay? But then you got the largest meta order that you can get going the other way, and it went biddish. And do you see that pattern in this stock? You do. This is a chart pattern you can look for, I guess. See, here it was here. So here was them buying. Here, let's say that this was like the flat area. They bought, they sold. And then there's going to be a short-term regime change back. And then this was them puking. People are coping hard with GME. If you have to grasp at straws to convince yourself to remain bullish, I have news for you. Yeah, I mean, it's just what I read on the Wall Street Bets subreddit doesn't look healthy to me right now. Now here's the thing that's so interesting about this. Now that I've shown that to you and you start looking at charts, partly because it really is a big part of the market and explains a lot of action, but also partly because you're just going to be looking for it. You're going to see it in like literally every chart now, right? But here's the thing. It's not predictive. It's a great chart pattern to explain what happened in the past. We can see that. But it doesn't tell you after this point right here. No way it told you that this whole noise over here was going to happen. You know, it's not predictive. It just helps explain the market impact of orders and why it moved where it did, right? But if you get a trade like that, let's go over to silver. Okay, so in silver, same sort of a thing. There was an impact. I think in this case, this wasn't so much people getting in, although there was a ton of activity in here. I think this was more the physical market booming up and the market makers pulling it up as a result. Here it came back to equal. It didn't come lower, okay? But say you get in here, does that mean that this is going to turn down now? No, it doesn't. It could turn up and it could go and go up to 30 for all we know. You don't know if there's a reason for it to go up. Like, say that the dollar turns back down. Like right now, the dollar's at 91.2. And I'm sitting here wondering, well, I don't understand why the dollar seems to be doing so well lately. But everybody thinks that the dollar's going to go down. We got some stimulus coming. Maybe at some point the dollar is going to go down, and then maybe these silver and gold trades could continue up. Okay, let's talk crypto for you. Sure. So here's what I see in crypto when I'm looking at that chart. So I'll make it big. So I got two things in here. First is somebody tried pumping it here, right? Somebody tried pumping it here, and then you got the short-term regime change afterwards, okay? Now, since then, it's been trending back up, and it's actually starting to look really good. I don't see any real driver for any of this. That's where I'm being like, it's kind of funny. The dollar is moving up. None of the dollar correlations that you typically tend to see are holding, and especially not Bitcoin. Bitcoin is moving up despite the dollar being somewhat strong right now. Also, another thing I'm seeing is look at the futures right here. So there's definitely some buying coming in there. So I don't know what the driver is, where it's coming from. The crypto world has been pretty quiet lately. Probably there's a lot of tether printing. You know, we should go check on that. Shall we? Let's go over to Buttcoin. I mean, I know so I have to give you the warning here. Buttcoin is just as crazy against Bitcoin as the Bitcoin is crazy for Bitcoin. So there's a lot of stuff in there that is just total nonsense, but they do give some good information if you know how to filter through. Okay, so wow, Tether is printing $400 million a print now. Okay, so it looks to me like there's still a lot of Tether printing. They kind of stopped and let things come back down for the big deadline for the court case. And this was where, you know, like the court case went through and we wouldn't necessarily know what's going on from the court case for a long time after that. So it was kind of like, get out before the court case. Maybe that creates a crash. And if it doesn't, you know, it's kind of like on hold for a little bit. So I would expect, just based purely on what Tether is doing, that they're going to try and make a run at the high again, right? No wonder you never bought Bitcoin. Well, I mean, I go to all of them. Well, I'm subscribed to all of them, at least. You know, the next one that I like to look at is the BTC subreddit. So this is something that I don't think that a lot of the newer people in Bitcoin understand. I'm sure that Air Cages understands this and would have his own opinions about it. But there was a real split in the Bitcoin community. You need to realize, even though all of the money followed the Bitcoin branch, I think that people typically think, okay, yes, there was a split between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, but all of the money followed Bitcoin, and these guys over in Bitcoin Cash are like outliers and like don't matter. Well, it's true that the money followed Bitcoin, and that was because the money was all with Core, and these guys that took over Core, they have a business and they've made money and they have power, and they spend it like on advertising and all of these sorts of things. But the developer community, the people that had been there from the beginning and were like actively writing code and actively writing tools around it and things like that, literally split in half. And I would even dare say that the more active and influential developers actually moved over to Bitcoin Cash. It's just that the money didn't. And so reading the BTC subreddit gives you the view of some users that have been involved in this for a long time and are really smart. So that's why I would read that one, right? And then you can go to all the other ones like cryptocurrency. I think cryptocurrency is good because that's like, it's really general, and so you get the people of all sorts, and you get a good number of people that aren't actually too bright. There's also the Bitcoin subreddit. I have to say, when you look at Bitcoin, here we'll come back and we'll look at it. What do we get on Bitcoin? Okay. Crypto banking roadmap. Okay, that doesn't help Bitcoin, but okay. You get news. You'll get two types of posts here. You'll get news, and you get, confirmation bias, which is okay. I mean, you should read those too. Bitcoin Gas got delisted? Well, is it still on Coinbase? Okay, Seth, looking into the software, does Jigsaw need or make use of level 2 data from NinjaTrader, or is Jigsaw standalone? It is standalone. So I'll show you. I think I can show you here. Hold on a second. Yeah, I can show you that. That doesn't show any credentials. So if I come into the connection manager, these are all of the different connections that they can connect to: Gain, IQ Feed, Rhythmic, CQG, Tradeovate, TT, REST API, so trading technologies, and then they can connect to some of the Bitcoin things, Stellar and Bitfinex. JX Feed, I don't know what that is, and then IB, TWS, that's Interactive Brokers. So you can connect it. So there's multiple ways to do it, right? So you can connect Jigsaw directly into your data feed, or you can use the bridge and connect it to NinjaTrader, and they have bridge for a couple of other ones. I can't remember at the moment exactly which ones that there are. Another thing that you can do, and what I do, is, even though it's a lot more expensive, I didn't realize when I first started doing this, and that's why I'm kind of like, but you can use Rhythmic, and Rhythmic has a plugin. So what I do is I plug in Jigsaw into Rhythmic, and then I plug NinjaTrader into Rhythmic, and that way, if NinjaTrader crashes, my Jigsaw isn't affected. Now, on the split side, I also have to say, since I've made that video, something has changed about Jigsaw, which is really important to know, and that is that Jigsaw has its own charts, and which I'll show you. So you can come in here. They're still like in beta, apparently. But, if we wanted to come in and let's look at ES, look at the March futures, pull it up here. Okay, and then, let's do the footprint, because that's the thing that's like unique here. We'll do 30-minute bars here. I hate tilt mode, so I'll turn that off. Okay. So you get a chart. Here's a footprint chart. Works pretty good. Works pretty good at seeing what's going on. And you can come in and you can add studies. And they have pretty much all the studies that you'd ever want. They've got a couple of ones that, let's not do the volume profiles one. Remove that one. But, you've got like all the moving averages that you'd want. Where is it? Moving average. So let's add a moving average in here, and we'll change it to a whole moving average of, how should we do it? 10. It's a 30-minute chart, so I don't know what that'll look like, but there you go. So now you got all the things. So now you get the footprint chat starts, total volume, buy volume, sell volume, delta, cumulative delta. It shows you the swings and how much was, So basically, if you are just using like basic indicators and stuff, I would recommend at this point that you just get Jigsaw and just exclusively use Jigsaw. But if you're like me, you want to program robots, you want to program your own indicators, things like that, then you're still going to want to use NinjaTrader. Make sense? And yeah, I have that video, like what is the best software, the futures trading software platform. And that has an affiliate link in it. So if you buy Jigsaw, use that affiliate link and it helps the channel out a lot. Interesting. Yeah, I hope that was I was probably like way more detailed than you wanted, but I think that should be like everything that you'd want to know to make a decision on that. All else being equal, can you make any gains if people don't buy from you? How much is needed to make you profitable? Half your position. So the thing that I mean, I'm sure you're asking that because you heard me say it the other day, but all else being equal, you cannot make money, or you are unlikely to make money from your execution impact alone. Okay. So typically, so that means that in order for you to be profitable, you have to have a predictive signal. Straight up. Now, a predictive signal could be news or a piece of information you have that the larger market doesn't, right? You have to have a predictive signal. Now, if you have a predictive signal and you know how much that predictive signal is worth, or rather, you know, once that predictive signal has played out, this is what price is going to end up being. So let's just say that it's 8 ticks. There are then ways to go in their models, if you go and you search the academic literature, that say, okay, based on the total volume that's traded for the day and what the bid-ask spread is and how much liquidity is at every price and how far you say that it's going to go, this is the optimum number of contracts that you can trade so that the amount that you make from it moving is maximized by trading more contracts, but not trading so many contracts that you start to suffer from the execution impact of your trade. Yeah. I want to go long, so I suggest that a short is in order. Well, I haven't really been looking at the E-mini too carefully here. I'd say that the market is really quiet right now. We've actually been stuck and going nowhere here for the last 30 minutes. You can download Jigsaw. I don't think that that's true. I think you are spreading disinformation there. That would be nice if they had the... Yeah, no. You have to... So the way that it works is you have to buy it to get access to it. But then there's like a period that you can get 100% refund. So the calm before the storm. I don't know about that. I think that in this situation, what's likely to happen is it'll be pretty quiet before the open unless we get some news. And I haven't heard anything from the squawk. We don't have like anything. Well, I take that back. We have some services PMI and manufacturing. We have a bunch of stuff at 8 o'clock. But, you know, today is a Wednesday. Today is and since it's like the day after Google earnings and all of that, like some of the largest earnings announcements, I think that today is a capital deployment day. I don't know if that means that they buy it, but I think that today is a capital allocation day. But those guys, if that's what they're doing, they're going to wait until the open to start doing that allocation. And what you will see is really slow movers that start slow, at least. Let's see here. Do you trade option strategies? Trading so not regularly. If I see a special situation, I have now taken some options. Two options trades. The whole like market making in options and trying to play volatility is not something that I regularly do. On this stream, I am mostly just scalping e-minis and treasuries. Some Russian guys cracked it. Well, that might be true. It really is a quiet market. Like even the news and like the Twitter and everything are quiet. Eerily so. Well, what do you know? What do you know? Ace, it did go down. not enough to hit your target yet, but it did go down. Wait, is that a thing? GameStop Corp appointed Matt Francis to newly recreated role of Chief Technology Officer, and they didn't have that before? What the heck? Well, you know, the funny thing about GameStop, I don't know if there's another run in this. Maybe there's another run in this, and then it comes all the way back down and it comes back to its true value. After it comes back to its true value, I don't think that people give it up. I think that it will, after that, it will become a cult stock and there'll be a bunch of people that will buy it. And I think that it actually will do well. Like maybe it'll do something like it'll go back to 5 to 10. And then after a couple of years of them doing well and recovering after the pandemic, they get to 30 or something like that, you know? You nominate Ace and not me? What? Yes, it seems like NYSE has put the GME on the short sale restriction list due to be enacted today. Is this good or bad? So it is good. The impact of that is not nearly as strong as you might think. How do I change this? Okay. Yeah, the impact of that might not be as strong as you would think. But it is good. And look, we do see GameStop moving in the pre-market. It looks like they are now positive in the extended session, actually up 25%. Actually, look at literally everything that I'm watching is up. You know what I don't have on here? I should manage this and add oops, how do I edit watch list? It is still Goog, right? Up 6%. For a stock as massive as Google at being up 6%, that is really good earnings, guys. You should try spreads on MES. I'm getting priced for $40-$60 risk reward for $100 cola spread. What are you spreading it with? Last chance to dump it at a reasonable price. See what they do. I mean, if they can get above yesterday's high. Verticals. Oh, you're talking. Are you? Wait. When you say verticals, that sounds like options, not just a future spread. Or is that to mean like a Just regular debit spreads. Oh, are you in the UK? Oh no, okay, you are doing options on futures. I gotcha. I think I would need to get a different broker to do options on futures, unfortunately. Like, the only place that I know I can do that is like Tasty Trade or Thinkorswim, right? Who do you use? You use Tastyworks? There you go. Did I say Tastyworks? Yeah, I don't know. They have a good platform. I remember when they split off, and I was like, well, I need to try their platform. And then I think that they don't really have it set up so that you can just try their platform like you can Thinkorswim. So I just like ignored it, but I don't know if it was any good. Because I feel like here I'm like Fidelity Active Trader Pro. It actually has some good things about it. It seems like Fidelity's Active Trader Pro is really stable and everything, but it says it's Active Trader Pro, but it is really not designed for like a scalper. You know what I mean? It's from the same guys that made Thinkorswim, but not anywhere near as feature rich. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, you see, I was from the time, you remember, I got into markets. Oh man, I got into markets in 2008, right? So the first couple of months, I was just using like a Google Finance. I had a Google Finance portfolio, and I would just enter trades into Google Finance. It's really unfortunate that Google got rid of that, because I went back and looked at some of my lists, because I had a couple of different portfolios for different things. And I had one that was like, okay, this is like what I would buy if I was just going to buy like right now and hold it for forever. And that actually outperformed over, like I looked back on it 10 years and it actually did outperform, largely because it had Google and Apple in it. But I digress. I probably wouldn't have done it the same way as before, and I probably wouldn't make as much as a result. And then I found Thinkorswim. So like at the time, I could not find anything, no Reddit or any forums or anything about like how to do this stuff. And I had just stumbled upon Thinkorswim, and I thought it was the most awesome thing ever. And I got it because like right now, if you go and get a demo account at Thinkorswim, it only works for like 2 weeks, right? But I have the infinite demo because I got in before they changed that rule. And I've had that demo account over at Thinkorswim for like 10 years now, 13 years now. It looks to me like GameStop is pumping, probably on the expectation that the short sellers will be constrained today, and the S&P 500 is selling as a result. I'm only making that conclusion based purely off of one move and the correlation on that one move. But this is something that we should monitor. That would have been a great short, wouldn't it, Vase? I don't think that there was anything in the E-mini itself, though, that would have really told us that was going to happen. And whether it was a long or a short there was really unclear, right? Because we could have just as easily have been feeling like, oh, we should take it long, which is why we didn't take one, right? I need to shave. I'm starting to get like the whiskers are going over my, I can feel it like go over my lip and stuff. That's annoying. It tickles. It kind of tickles. You can have a real account and withdraw all deposits. They don't care. Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. I just need a 20-second time machine. Oh, man. You know, I guess one thing that I wasn't really seeing before, but I probably should have pointed out, was that when you look at the overall book, there was some offer side pressure. They tend to go the opposite way from this. I should start coloring these red. This is a shorter term one, only like the inside 16 or whatever. And on that one, you can see that it's a little bit more indicative of what the trend is doing. But curious, right? Now it's a little bit more even, so I think that a long there could make sense. Yeah. I'm gonna hold off because I'm seeing this GME thing. I'm not so sure if GME is gonna take off, then long ES is not the right call. GME is inversing market. Yeah. Well, for now it is. It's really easy to read that there's a correlation in there that doesn't really exist, right? And the other thing is we should remember that correlations tend to oscillate. So we might not, because we see the correlation right now, that might not be the best. Might not be the best time to start trading that correlation. Hey, Pivot Talk posting a video in our chat. That looks pretty good. I remember I was thinking the other day, I was like, there's two things that I want to get. And now I can remember what they... a teleprompter was the other thing that I need to get. A lavalier microphone and a teleprompter. Because when I did that news video, I could have made my life so much easier by just writing it all out and doing a teleprompter. What's this? The resources traders today have 20xs. When I started, data alone was $385 per month. Yeah, it's... Well, I still feel like that good data is expensive, but that was what. So if you guys missed it when I was like doing my full analysis in here, I was talking about the GME situation and how the big question is how many shorts are still out there. And we've got this data from these S3 guys that say that that's over. And I was saying, well, this is the reason why I'm kind of skeptical of day trading with stocks, because it seems like for any given stock, there's always this one piece of information. It's like this one piece of information. If you knew that, then you would be able to make a pretty good call about what it should be worth from here. And you never have that one piece of information. And you can't see like what the order flow is doing. So it's like this thing with everybody's like, it's a short ladder. And I'm like, no, just because something goes down on low volume doesn't mean it's a short ladder. It probably means that the market makers don't want to hold bids. And like, why would they want to put a bid out there right now? You're going to get steamrolled when you look at that chart. They did the right thing. It's trading on low volume because of the market makers, not because of some price manipulation short ladder strategy that only happens in small stocks with no activity. It can't happen in the most heavily traded stock in the world. And, it's just all of those things. Okay, so here's GameStop coming back a little bit. But I'm not seeing the ES reacting. That is probably, there's somebody bought there. It's probably it coming back out. We'll have to see what it does. I'm sure now, because we've had this move, that it's going to do a couple of wild things on the open, huh? That's a good question. That's one that we haven't talked about, Ether Eater, is it? There's a report that comes out regularly about how many shares have been failed to deliver, which means that like somebody went and shorted it, and then those shares have been recalled and they haven't actually returned the shares within a reasonable amount of time, which means that this guy is still short and not actually covered, right? And they have gotten enough to the point where if it stays that way, I think by Friday, so if they don't get underneath of that threshold by Friday, then the SEC can come in and force them to cover their shorts. So some people are saying you just got to wait it out until Friday, and then all of these shares that haven't been delivered will have to be delivered, and that will push the price up. And other people are furthermore stating that based on the data that they look at, and here's where, again, it's like, I don't think that the data that we get in stocks is very accurate or reliable. But when you analyze the numbers that they're looking at, they're saying that the shares don't actually exist. They're saying that there's more shares out there trading than have ever actually been issued. And so when they are forced to cover them, you're going to find out that those shares don't exist. Yeah, the problem is that the SEC has to enforce it, which people have no faith in. Well, let's see what they go. Fine, let's go Bears. Is it curious, isn't it? Well, it looks like Ethereum is going today. Or at least I see people talking about it. Super interesting to me that Mario Draghi became the Prime Minister of Italy. I'm hearing them talk about that right now. What happened there? Why did my data stop on me? I think it's okay. I think it was just a little hitch. Anyways, yeah, that one is interesting. But my understanding is also that they had been like on that list and close to that threshold many times, and every time that they get close to that threshold, shares are magically found and they're taken off the list again. So would not worry myself too much with that one unless it happens. Like if Friday it happens, and then next week I would be watching it. That and the report that comes out on next Tuesday on how many shorts there actually are out there. But of course, they sell that short at interest, so in the long run, they're screwing themselves over. Well, yeah, that's another good point. These shorts are paying a lot of interest on it. That's where I'm kind of wondering, like, even though the number of shorts out there is less than 100% of the float now, it's still pretty high. It's still pretty high. So I think that they could still create some chaos here. If the Reddit horde really like hits in well, you know, we'll see what they can do today. If there's no short sellers out there, it's all just, well, I mean, I don't think that it'll be that. So here's another thing. Two other things. Theories of mine, let's say. So when I was looking at the data on like Thursday, it was still over 100% of the flow. And then the days since then have all been like low volume days. And now they're telling us that like half of them or whatever have covered. And it's like, well, how did they do that when those other days were like really low volume? So the data must not be as current as they tell us. It must be that it was 100% at the beginning of the week, and then after Thursday it went down, and their numbers didn't show it until like 2 days later, right? So then the data that you're getting is late. But so it comes down, how did they do that? Well, one theory is that they did a dark pool trade. What if you're a hedge fund, you need to get out of that, and Fidelity would have access to that. So Fidelity and the big fund, they make the transaction and they get out. Possible, right? Seems possible. I think that would get reported afterwards, and I guess we would see it, wouldn't we? Maybe we should go and try and look for that data. Look for dark pool trades in GameStop. But then the other side of it is, okay, but then after that, how is it selling? It wasn't like super high volume. Yesterday it was high volume. But who's doing the selling? Is it short sellers going short again? I understand people wanting to go short, but then that would just, you get more shorts, and then that would just give them fuel to pump it again, right? But maybe these funds like Vanguard were selling yesterday. What do you think? They come in and they say, well, the data that we get from our Bloomberg terminal says that it's over, so we're going to get out. Seems possible to me. So I'm not saying that that's what happened. I'm just saying it's a theory. And the reason I share that theory is maybe one of you guys will be able to find a piece of data that confirms or falsifies that theory. If I got $10 million and would get a new wife, what is good grief, dude? I can attest my Vanguard funds growing whenever the meme stocks, the price of GME went down. Now that I think is probably something else, Pineapple Pizza. Because Vanguard selling their GameStop shares shouldn't make their fund go up. But what is happening is that when GameStop moves down, the favorite hedge fund basket of stocks, of which Vanguard owns many of them, go up. And so you're probably seeing your Vanguard go up because of that, is my guess. Looking at the long at 28. Well, look, the GameStop is trying to make another little run here. Let's go back here. What is the price that they need to get over? So let's just spitball. Let's kind of just do it kind of a little more. We don't have to be entirely accurate. So let's say 150. Because 150 is a psychological round number that's close to where those highs were. We want to see them get over 150. Yeah, I was trying to think how they could be correlated, but there's a lot of other factors in Vanguard's index funds that can cause many of their funds that are high. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, when GME goes down, the overall S&P 500 goes up. So that, of course, is going to make your Vanguard move up, right? Okay, well, it looks like they're almost going to make another overnight high. I don't know about this. Like, I'm watching it and it's starting to get me a little excited. But then I'm like, oh yeah, that's going to make me a little excited, and then it's just going to get smacked down. How's the silver? I'm okay with the silver. It's going pretty good, actually. Where was this? Need to go up. I don't know what SNBR is. I don't know why I have that on here. I'm just going to put it like way down here. Look, silver's up 2% from yesterday. I don't know. The silver trade is a much longer play, right? And again, I don't see the silver trade really taking off as long as the dollar is doing well. Well, it's coming back a little bit. Do you see there? The dollar coming back a little bit, but they'd have to get below 91 before anybody would even pay attention to that, right? I bet it comes crashing down before it reaches 150. Well, look at that. They got to 120. Somebody is FOMOing that. Can we come in here? Let's hold on. Let me pull the thing up. How should I do this? I'm gonna adjust these, and I'm gonna add in the directed trade and extended hours stuff. We'll move that all the way up. There we go. Okay. So now let's watch and see what are these orders coming. Where are these orders looking like as we're seeing them come in here? Oh, come on. I want that all the way up there. Go back up there. There we go. Okay. So it looks like they ran into a little bit of liquidity there above 17. Ooh, 1,000 at 14? And they traded it. Well, if we need to get another really strong flood of buy orders in there to really see what's going on, huh? At the moment, it looks like it's going the other way. You're getting some sell orders coming through. Do you think all the uncertainty with markets at the moment is going to drive investors towards cryptos? That makes zero sense. Oh, let me pull the what? Okay. If you think that there's a lot of uncertainty about markets, why would you go over to an even more volatile asset? Okay. I think you should rethink that one. You think it's better for AMD or Intel for trading? Well, I think that right now, because of the prices and everything else, that you're probably going to do better with AMD. There is kind of, it's going to be like, there's probably going to be some specific applications, right? So if you have like a, what do we say? Oh, by the way, I never turned this other on. Let's do that. If you have some application that does something single threaded, then you may still want to go with the Intel if it's, performance is all that matters to you. Like I think that running tick replay is single threaded. So but you're going to get better overall bang for your buck from the AMD processors. And especially since most of what you're doing in your trading applications is going to be multi-threaded. Overall, though, on the split side, you don't need a super amazing processor to trade. Like you could probably go and get a 3600. Like if I was building a new machine and I was only going to trade with it and I wasn't going to backtest with it, I don't think I'd spend more than 150 on a processor. If I'm going to backtest with it, though, then all of a sudden it makes sense. Like, put as much into the processor as you can. E-mini's selling on the open. Gamestop selling on the open. They're getting some pretty good flooding of selling in there. Look, there was 1,000 lot in that. Yeah, there's a pretty good amount of selling coming in here in GameStop. Wow, that came back. Wow. Okay, but now some buyers coming in on that. Interesting. Well, now that there's been that kind of pullback, I don't think that there's really much reason for us to have this directed trade thing up, and I prefer to be able to see my overall thing. So I'm going to move these back up here. Okay. I can already hear Wall Street Bets screaming short ladder, right? It's not, dude. You saw the big sell orders in there. Big sellers came in. I think that we need to consider maybe some funds are selling. Let's see here. Dark pool reports. I know I've done it before. Here's like an announcement from FINRA. They didn't give a direct transparency data. Oh, okay. Ding, 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 ding. OTC transparency. Issue G M E. And you get nothing. I don't know. I don't know. So the inverse correlation is definitely a thing right now, isn't it? It's a little delayed, but GameStop, gave up most of those gains there, and the E-mini is pushing back up above the open now as well as a result. So when it's been like this, I've had a really hard time in the futures. So if I'm gonna take a trade in the E-mini, I need to be very selective. Yeah, those newbies really believe in short ladder. We'll see. I think, like, sometimes I wonder how much influence does one person on social media really have? So I made a video about it on TikTok, and I made a bunch of posts on Wall Street Bets, not a thread, but just in comments and stuff. And I think, like maybe 5 people read that. And then they go, oh, like that is a good reading. And that guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about. And so then it just kind of grows from there, and they spread the information. And so even though maybe you're the source of that information, nobody would actually be able to trace it back to you and see that you are the reason why people started to come to that conclusion. You know what I mean? And I've seen that happen before, where like I started saying something and I felt like I was the only person saying it, and then a week later everybody came over to my side. So maybe the Wall Street Bets guys will realize that it's not short ladders. And there's no short sellers out here, so those people selling there, they're just people, right? Oh, did Gary say something overnight that I missed? Because why is he responding to Gary there? I want to know. It's a classic sign of losing traders to take credit for wins and blame others for losses. They have a victim mentality. Traders have to accept responsibility for both profits and losses. If you're not prepared to do that, then you really shouldn't trade. The short squeezes are not hodl investments. They are short-term trades. Yeah. I just... it's really unfortunate the way that it came out. Like, I don't think that anybody should say that I lost money because Robinhood, because you still could have sold your shares, right? But I still think it's fair to say that it shouldn't have happened, right? That there's something wrong with the system if they have to stop you from trading it. Did you say to get out at 3? I don't remember you saying that. But it's okay. I'm more when I'm looking back on this trade, because I'm okay with it. Like, if it comes in its break even and I don't make or lose anything from this, like, that's fine, right? I'm more interested in why, when the two major things. Well, so actually the Robinhood trading stopping, I bought after that, didn't I? So at first I'm wondering, well, why did I do that? Why maybe that should have kept me out. That alone maybe should have kept me out. I guess I didn't expect the halts to last for so long. But then the bigger one is I knew by the end of that, before the end of that day, that the reason that they were selling was because of the S3 data. Why didn't that move me? I saw the S3 data and I was more concerned about, okay, prove to me that this data actually shows what you say it does. Oh, I was referring to the Wall Street Bets, guys. Sure. Because if this trade, like, truly is over, then the S3 data coming out seems to me to be the point where it should have been clear that you should have sold. Obviously, it wasn't clear to everybody that that was the signal. We don't all believe it, right? But you get what I mean. Like, the people that were playing correctly, that's what they did, was they saw the S3 data and they sold. Let's move that in a bit. They are definitely inverse correlated. And so this is the issue here, trading the S&P 500 at this moment, is that I don't think that my edge on reading the order flow really is going to matter. I don't even think that my edge on reading the momentum and, like, moving averages and stuff is going to help either, because it's really about GME. What I should be doing is I should be reading the order flow on GME, which I can't do, or reading the churns on GME and then trading the inverse of that on the E-mini, right? ES sucks right now, yeah. So I guess I'm kind of sitting here like, I haven't taken a trade today. Should I have taken a trade today? I'm like going to come in and start taking one. And once I start taking them, I kind of get, like, drawn into it and I just keep doing it, right? So maybe it's better for me to just not touch it. But I'm not sure why I'm not touching it. I haven't been sitting here and thinking, okay, should I take a trade in the ES, other than when I've talked to you about it. I haven't been sitting here saying, okay, maybe I should take a trade in the ES now. It hasn't crossed my mind at all. I've been 100% focused over here talking. No plan, no trade. Well, yeah, I mean, I think that my plan should be that as long as GameStop appears to be a dominant force in the market and is threatening to move up to 150, that I don't want to take any trades in ES. Oh, that's right. We do have some economic data. That's a good point, too. Totally forgot about that. Well, you know what? Well, let's let the 45 news come, and then we'll take a little quick break, huh? What is HSBC saying on silver? Silver hits 8-year high on social media inspired retail buying, looks robust near term, but increasingly open to correction. Silver market differs in size and complexion from equities targeted by buyers of a similar profile. This may trigger a pullback. Investor enthusiasm may continue near term, but lagging gold is a cautionary signal. Traditional silver investors are less active. Okay, so that is a really good point there. I mean, it's something that I noticed, but I didn't really flag as like really crucial, but gold has been lagging silver. Today, their charts look like almost exact mirrors. That's interesting. The Obama team reasoned that as long as people were talking about pay disparity, even if much of the talk involved endlessly explaining why women don't get paid 70% for apples to apples equivalent jobs, they could leverage the atmosphere of grievance to make policy demands. I thought often during the latter Trump years about the contrast with Barack Obama's stray voltage strategy, which involved saying provocative and often flatly untrue things to prompt discussion of Obama's preferred topics for political gain. I see. Yeah, that happens. Okay, number is better than expected. Sorry, I'm not getting the number here in Jigsaw yet. I'll wait for that. Or if I see it on Twitter here. Okay, PMI final actual 58.7 versus a forecast of 56.7. And services PMI actual 58.3 versus a forecast 57.4. Now, the market number usually doesn't matter as much as the ISM number. Sometimes they can have a big impact, but usually they're pretty short term. Okay, look at that. That is down. They are now pushing lows of the regular session. It looks slow. Did they just halt it? No, it's still trading. Okay. Congrats on 5K subscribers. I was hoping you guys wouldn't notice because I owe you a video now. I kind of been putting off that video because I feel like, well, I want to do it on the chalkboard and I need a lavalier microphone. I guess I'm just going to do it like I did the expectancy video. But yeah, we got to 5K subscribers so fast, right? I thought it was going to be like way longer. We should go. I don't think that this amount of growth is gonna moderate a little bit, but I wonder what Social Blade says about our trends. That's not what we want. We want future projections. Well, it thinks that we will get to 10,000 within 8 months. If we can get to, I think that should be the goal now, since we got to 5K within February. I think that we'll probably come a little bit short, but it's still like a stretching goal, right? If we can get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and then we get a plaque, right? 10,000 subscribers, you get a plaque. That would be like one of my greatest accomplishments for sure. The amount of work that we put into it to get to 10,000 would be like, yeah. Okay. I am going to take a quick break. I will be right back. So we'll see where this goes. It does look like we're still kind of in the inverse correlation thing. So I think I'm just going to kind of keep my hands off the E-mini for now. Okay. Zero hedge options traders signal risk has passed as put buying panic reverses. He says, I'll come up and present the plaque. We can do that. We need to get together. We could get together this weekend even if you wanted. So you're child over the COVID now? Oh, you did take one and made your 2 points, huh? Is it 100K? I thought that you get the 10K YouTube plaque, but maybe they changed it. Well, I think that there's one that you get at 10,000. Oh. Okay, so you're right. There's a benefit level at 10,000 subscribers, but there's not an award, a creator award, until 100,000. Dang it, man, that would be hard to get 100,000. I don't know if my channel can ever get 100,000. That just kind of like makes my day sour now. So I thought something happened. Well, what is this? It's this adds a spread shop or Teespring monetization. Is that customized shirts? Meh. I wonder if that's like up to date. Oh, I want an award. I want a silver plaque. Gosh dang it. Is it possible to request a refund from the Robinhood if a stock falls and makes mistakes? Well, I think that in a situation like this, certainly something that we never factored in, but probably we should anytime that things are getting super crazy, and that is that trade on the instrument will stop or margins will change. And so I don't think that you can really blame somebody else if you lose money on the trade. But I also think that Robinhood did some things wrong here, and maybe some of these regulators did some things wrong, and I think that something wrong occurred, and I hope that there is some form of justice, and what that will be and what's possible, I have no clue. But, like this is like the David Portnoy. Have you guys gone and looked at this stuff with David Portnoy, man? Oh my God. I don't think he's ever going to live that down, to be honest with you. So he like YOLO'd all into it, right? And like up near the top too. And then almost immediately turned around and sold it all. He said like, oh, I'm holding all of this stuff for memes and it sucks. And so I'm getting out. And he lost like $700,000 or something like that. I was like, when I saw the video and him talking about it, I was like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And he basically said that the CEO of Robinhood robbed him and that he should go to jail. Maybe the CEO of Robinhood should go to jail. It seems to me that when they came out and they were having funding issues, that the public statements that they made were false. They were actively trying to avoid saying that they don't have enough funding because they didn't want people to panic. They were lying to us there. So maybe there is some space for Robinhood to like be held accountable a little bit. But Portnoy, man, like it happens. It happens, and it's not something that I saw coming, so I can't say that I was so smart, but it is something that happens, and we just kind of have to own it, right? But the thing that's worse about it is that his name is Portnoy, and so people are calling him Paper Portnoy now, and I don't see how you live that down, man. that you might as well stop. I mean, he probably can still make a ton of money. I guess in the long run, maybe it actually even helps him being called Paper Portnoy, but I certainly don't think that very many people are going to take him seriously from here on out. Okay, so it looks like GameStop is coming back to where it was. And it's oscillating, but it doesn't look like the buyers have enough oomph to just make it run and run. Maybe it's just going to oscillate. I don't know. Well, it could take a while. One thing that could happen is maybe there's just a big seller out there that's long that wants out. And once they're done with their order, maybe that would change the balance and we could move back up. But those are all just kind of guesses, you know. What we're seeing right now kind of looks like hard to really say what's going to happen. I imagine Portnoy's net worth still went up over losing the 700,000. I don't know about that. So the problem is that certainly it will raise your profile a little bit and it will get more traffic to your stream and stuff. But I don't think that the amount that you make from that is equal to a $700,000 loss. You know? He probably makes tons of money on Barstool Sports and maybe will make that money back in a year, but you took that long? This is kind of where when I look at it and I'm like, let's do something here. Since you've got it like all managed, right? You can look at this screen here. So let's look at this screen, shall we? Bum 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 bum. I have the Terraria theme stuck in my head for some reason. Been thinking this morning, do you think that you could run Terraria, like play the game on a Raspberry Pi? I should try it. They're only like $30, right? Okay, so let's do the base ace, and we will say that we are gonna do an 8-tick stop, and let's just do reward factor of 1. Okay, and we're gonna do it on 1 minute bars, and we'll do it on ES here, and we're only going to do like today in like the past 3 days. Okay. Oh, wow. That was way too many trades. Let us look. Oh, we want the chart. Okay. Profit target. Now that's interesting. Is that today? Yes, it is. That is today. Ugh, it's so yucky. The price action today. Wait, are we on 1 minute bar? Those are 1 minute bars, aren't they? Yeah, okay. That's fine. It's not saying long though. It might be worth letting that one run, right? I'm surprised at how many it took. Okay, but so just going on here, the robot says, based on your entry criteria, no trade. At least ace 1. So let's go and look at some of the other. There's like 7 different versions of it optimized. Oh, we don't need that. We don't need that sound. Let me fix this. Properties. Probably you're sitting there and then you hear that and you're like, oh crap, what the hell? I'm pretty sure Raspberry Pi can run any games that are a PlayStation 2 level, so yeah, it's probably possible. But then the next question is, how you get it on there? I think there is Steam for Raspberry Pi's operating system. And then, and what I really want to play is Stardew Valley. I need to be able to, can I get the game on there? And then will it let me do networking? Okay. Ace 2, I don't even remember what Ace 2 does. My recollection, though, was that he wasn't that good. Okay, so the armed thresholds. That's the one that is, way better. Doesn't look like taking many trades today. Where are all the trades then? Where are they all coming from? Oh, there's one right there. Oh, I didn't realize how much it really toned it down. Well, now that's interesting. Now we had these other ones. I think the one that worked the best was the 5. Okay, let me come over here into the summary. Oh, that one, it didn't take any. But I can, bring this threshold down. Yeah, okay. Sure. Still no trades in this area with that. Stardew Valley, was that the name? No, it's a game. Dude, you should get it and we should play it, man. John, we'd totally do that, bots. It's so much fun. It's like you're a farmer, basically. It's like, do you ever play what was that thing, Farmville on Facebook? Do you ever play Farmville on Facebook? It's kind of like Farmville on Facebook, but it's more RPG-ish. And yeah, I think it's childish. It is kind of childish. Harvest Moon, yeah, that's another one. I should try that one. My wife just really liked Stardew Valley. Yeah, it's Harvest Moon modernized. There you go. It's a pixelized game. It's a great game. Oh man, my nose itches like crazy. I don't know what the deal here is. Oh, there was this one. Let's try this one. No. None of these are actually backtesting positive right now. That's funny. This one is just like Ace with risk management. That one actually isn't too terrible. I don't know why that one's not taking any trades today, though. That one's going for 2-to-1 risk reward. So let's come back. Optimization. This is fun. This will help you out, Ace. So I come in here and I can say do 1 to 10. What's the best? What's the best over just this week? Well, it looks like the best was to do a reward factor of 5. Actually, that's what I thought it would be, believe it or not. So what does that mean? That you should take 40 ticks. Saying that if you get 40 ticks or 10 points, that you should take it off. So what that's suggesting, at least over the past week. So when I come into this one and then I go into the chart, but it's still not taking any trades. So what's with that? But did it do it? It did it on Ace 1, didn't it? Let's just not do the optimization. Let's just do the reward factor 1 and run through it. It should. Okay, now it takes a ton, right? Okay. But it still doesn't, it didn't take a long in here, which I actually am surprised that this one didn't do it. See, it must be because the volume wasn't really actually down here, and so you didn't get the snapback. But anyways, my whole point of this, Ace, if you're still there, was I was thinking, well, he took the trade and it looked good, but it doesn't look like he followed the signal as I have it programmed. There was some degree of discretion involved there that, this is good enough and I'll take it. And so now the question is, what was it that you were seeing that made you say, okay, it's enough, I can take this long? That's the question. And let's come back to this one, and now let's do the optimization on it. Reward factor 1 to 10. We are doing it over the last. What are we doing here? Come on. Okay, we're going back to the 30th. No, that's not what we want. We want until well, let's do the last 2 weeks, okay? And it says reward factor 4. So it is suggesting that volatility, I mean, it's kind of volatile, but that the VIX is a little bit lower. So we don't want to take as far of a target as normal. But it is saying here that if you go long and you hold it to the targets and stuff, you're getting a pretty good profit factor there. The Sharpe ratio on the longs there is actually 2.53. That's like really good, right? Well, the problem is if we come back to 2020, when we go back and do that whole thing over again. I've put some money into penny stocks. I swear I don't understand how people consider investing into them when most of them don't really fluctuate. Yeah, well, and I certainly don't see how you go into a penny stock that, you just learned about online, Like if it's one thing if you're like, I am interested in this business and I know that it's a new business. It's a new industry. And so the only stock for this industry happens to be a penny stock. Like, for instance, I wanted to get into rare earth minerals in the United States. The only one available at the time was a penny stock. I bought into it. It's working out really well right now. But when you just go, hey, somebody on Reddit said that this ticker is going to be going well. And then, you get into it and it's like it could be a company in somebody's basement. Gamestop turns negative, erasing gains of as much as 26%. All that downturn right there does look pretty ugly. Okay. Anyways, when I come in here and I do it, doesn't overall it says it doesn't work. And if we come into the analysis, you can kind of see how there was this period from July to here where didn't really take the right trades. If I come back to the summary, I do see that it took a lot more short trades. Actually, it didn't take a lot more short trades. It's just the short trades sucked a lot more. So 2% less chance on the short trades. Probably what we need is a better long-term filter to determine whether it's long or short. Seems to me that like we're looking at like what does the 5-minute bar look like and stuff like that. But probably he is putting a lot more discretion into whether it's long or short. Maybe some of this stuff that I'm trying to learn about right now where we use some machine learning to determine what is... Okay, hold up. That was informed trading right there. So I do see 4 minutes ago, Zero Hedge tweeting that Biden says he's willing to limit the stimulus checks eligibility. News Squawk saying you could get Manchin on board, which would likely give you all the votes you need to go down reconciliation. Yes, because of what they're saying right now is that they don't want to give $1,500 stimulus checks to everybody. They don't want to get. I guarantee you, it's not going to. I don't think I should be getting a stimulus check. Senator Coons, Biden is determined to deliver relief within weeks. That is why we just took like an 8-tick plunge. I think. I mean, that's what I was hearing when it went down. That looks like, though, this appears to be that there is some slight bearishness coming in off of political news. $10 points was normal volatility 2 days ago at this time. It has definitely contracted, hasn't it? But I mean, a lot of that is because it used to just trend, you know? So it was interesting. I was reading this article the other day. I don't remember where I got it from. It was tweeted. Anyways, there was this guy. It was funny because he was saying, technical analysis doesn't work, but then he was like, price action does work. And I'm like, price action is technical analysis, you retard. What the? Oh, man. And then so he has a really extensive website with articles and everything. And I go and I'm like, okay, so what is price action? And what proof does he have that works? Absolutely nothing. So it was really frustrating. But in the article, he had a lot of really good information and some historical information that I hadn't heard before. And one of the pieces of historical information that I hadn't heard before was that autocorrelation in markets was higher prior to the 1980s when automated trading came in. Can you believe that? Isn't that interesting? It's like the more edge that is discovered, the more random the market becomes. Which I guess is what it should do, but man, I don't know. If you see consistent 1 million volume, then you know it's a squeeze. Well, I don't know. Like, here's the thing that just weirds me out is that, like, I was sitting here being like, I remember everybody was asking about it. And we were like, well, when you see it, it'll be pretty crazy, right? Well, we did have some pretty crazy action, but I didn't think it was the squeeze. And now all of a sudden people are telling me that the squeeze is over. It's just like, I know that in the end, it's all going to come square out and I'm going to be like, but like right now, I just feel like I have so many conflicting data points. It's probably because I believe certain things that are just wrong. For instance, I still really am skeptical about the S3 data being accurate about how many shorts there are. Negative 93 GME is bad news. Well, yeah, so at this point, I think the only explanation I can come up with for the activity that we are seeing in GameStop is that the funds are liquidating, that like Vanguard and friends are selling. I think that's what's happening. Actually, like I'm not even going to say that that's my theory. That's what I believe is happening. I don't have empirical proof empirical evidence to prove it. On FINRA market, we can see where do you? So remember that the FINRA numbers are like what they only come out every 2 weeks, and when it does come out, the data that you're getting is from the previous week. So we won't get an update from FINRA until Tuesday, and it will tell us what the market was yesterday, right? That's why the S3 exists, S3 and Orbex. And who knows how they are calculating it. But they're looking at some data and running it through some model to estimate what the shorts are going to be. And when you look at it, when you look at the Ortex number, let's come back and we'll show you what somebody showed us yesterday, because I don't have access to it. But, you know, when you come and you look at this one, it's like, okay, they're fairly close, but there are divergences in extreme situations, right? So here it showed that it came down a little bit, and it came down a lot. There were some spots where they said that it came down and it was actually a lot higher. Or sorry, so this one with the dots is the FINRA one. So this is an instance where they said that the number of shorts had decreased by 7 million, and it hadn't. It actually was increasing at that time, right? So is it possible that in an extreme situation that they could see it moving down, what, 20, 30 million, and it really wasn't that excessive? It's possible, but we don't really know. The market seems to believe the Ortex data, though. Jimmy is getting splumbered. Well, they recovered. They got a green bar there, so I don't know. It still looks like neither side has a really clear advantage over there, but in my mind, just the fact that they gave up that pre-market pump is not good, you know? Yeah. Steven says, okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, man. Denial is a strong emotion. Diamond hands. That's what, when we posted that stuff. Because I was saying, when you read around on whether the squeeze is over, when you read the media reports, they talk about it all in past tense, like to them it's over. And nobody on Wall Street's bets believes that. Or if they do, they're getting downvoted, right? Well, I haven't looked at them today. Let's go look at them today. I have to say, like, and the thing is that the short sellers were supposed to be out today. Like, there's limitations on them. So that's supposed to give the buyers, you know, help the buyers out, and people can buy on Robinhood and stuff today again. But only 15 million shares so far. Doesn't seem like that's happening. You know what else we kind of forgot about? That while I was talking about Ace's thing, that we got those other numbers. We've been down since then. That's curious. Let me come back here. What were the numbers? ISM, they were all good. ISM manufacturing business activity 59.9 versus 57.3. Non-manufacturing PMI 58.7 versus 56.8. And non-manufacturing new orders 61.8, which is really good. What are your I don't think I can make recommendations on stocks. Let me rephrase that. If it ever seems like I'm making a recommendation on a stock, I'm not. I can tell you what I'm doing, but I'm not going to make recommendations on stocks. What do you think about where are the shares? Yeah, I haven't seen that website, but I think I know what it's going to say. Lots of failure to deliver. Brenda's shares that fail to deliver on any given day. Yeah. So when I look at this thing, the data that powers the chart was collected in parts together from hundreds of separate failed to deliver data reports provided by the SEC. Shares outstanding information was collected from white charts. So the issue that I have with this is that I don't think that the data that we as retail traders get on that sort of stuff is accurate. Just straight up. Dog decided to throw up everywhere. Ugh. So this is where I'm like, there probably, you might see some discrepancies in data, and there's probably other alternative explanations. I don't know what they are, but I bet you that somebody that does these failure to deliver reports from the SEC maybe would be able to answer that. If there was really like fraud going on, that you would think that there would be somebody from the SEC coming out on television and saying, yeah, I'm concerned about this. Why aren't these shares being delivered, and warning the public? You're right. Like if the SEC had some evidence to suggest that that's what was going on, you would think that they would warn the public, right? No, I don't know. So I think it's interesting, but we have to just, with all of these things, we have to consider that the data that we have might not be accurate, current, or reliable. The real Wall Street Bets is dead. Well, it's always been its own thing. Like, everyone in Wall Street Bets has confirmation bias and downvotes anything that isn't in their favor. Yeah, I mean, but it's always kind of been like that. I think that, though, that it comes down largely to, what is going on here? Okay. So it sounds to me like what is happening here is that the market is realizing that not as much stimulus is going to go out. So there's still going to be $1,500 stimulus checks, but less people will be eligible for them. That it sounds like they're going to make it so that only the people that are, well, ideally, they want to make it so that only people on service jobs that have been negatively affected by the pandemic are actually going to get them. But like, there's not really any very good ways to determine that. So here's what I'm thinking is maybe they change it so that instead of it being like, if you together make less than $150,000, then you get a stimulus check. And maybe they change it and it's like, if you together make less than $75,000 a year or something like that, right? But then the net result is that there will be less fiscal stimulus. And so that is why it appears to me that the E-mini is moving down. It's gentle, but there is rushes when that news headline comes in. You can see the informed trading coming in and the market selling coming in. And look over at the Treasuries. The Treasuries are on a pretty good trend up, and pretty thick liquidity around it in the 10-year as well. And 8K just above is at 28, and almost 7,600 at 26.5, 2 ticks down. So like a bear with beer. Yeah, I mean, Wall Street Bets was always like taking irresponsible trades. It was just like they were catching the good trades too. Like in aggregate, all the trades are awful. If you follow the crowd on those, your performance is going to be awful. Man, even with all of that, I mean, we are down 10 ticks now. But even with all of that, it's just seems so incredibly tight. It looks like Jay is doing okay off of all that. He's made money on both his long and his short trades. Of course, Well, and I'm surprised that even after the commission, but look, $27 in commission to make $92 is not, it's not very good. I really think that we can improve the probabilities on these. It is 81% win rate. I don't know. Seems like I have a good signal here. Well, actually, I take that back because it's like 2-1. The losers are bigger. That's why it's doing that. See, look, the winner is 898 and the losers are 21. So that's why the stats are the way that they are. And it has to take a lot of trades to do it. But I think that we could implement some filtering. I haven't done it because I feel like, well, I could put a moving average on it, but then it would take less trades. I don't think it would be as good. But if I guess I could go back in there and do something where, like, based on the trend and what the R is, and then I take them, and that could improve the win rate. And if it still takes enough trades, like if it's still taking more than 10 trades a day, I think so. We could probably cut this in half. Even we could just use a moving average and tell it to, I guess I will. I've been putting off back testing that because I was like, I want to implement this better filtering system. We should do this and make it better while we can and back test that to make it better. Okay. Oh, Brandon went short off of that too, by the way. Good call. Good call, Brandon. Proud of you, son. So Joseph and Squire, those are out, right? And Indy, how many trades has Indy taken? Because he's made a small loss on the day. I wish that it would on this strategy tabs. Okay, it's taken four trades and it's kind of come out break even. Interesting. Sorry with your caps, yeah. Where do you get your data sets for testing? Well, I mean, I use Rhythmic Data, so when I do my back tests, it just goes and downloads the historical data from Rhythmic. But these ones that I'm talking about here, I'll just pull the window over so you can see it. These are my robots running on my live data. So they're running on sim accounts. You can see right now I'm still testing them on sim, but they are, it's running on the live data. So we want to see how they perform compared to the back test. You're already out at 14, huh? Oh, but that was a good catch. I see. 19 to 14, that's good. Interesting. And based off of what you've told me about your strategy too, Greg, that's interesting to me because that's not necessarily the place that I would expected it to go, but now I kind of see. Trading scared. Well, so interestingly enough, when we come back over here to GameStop, GameStop has been down since the open. They are maybe establishing a base, but it kind of seems like that the correlation between the equity indexes and GameStop has kind of disappeared. And now the market is reacting more to the political news about the stimulus. And at that point, the correlation has changed. And so now the indexes is maybe being a drag on GameStop. Are headsets healthier than in-ears? I don't know, man. I tell you what, I get like a dent on my head. Can you see that? Like, am I misshaping my skull by wearing headphones all day? Greg says, I agree, it's stimulus news, yeah. So when you took that trade, was the stimulus news factoring into it, or was it purely technical? By the way, how are we doing today? I would expect us to be down a little bit. Oh, some 76 is still good. I didn't put anything funny in my title, though, so maybe that's why. What are we going to put in today's title? South Korea will extend their ban on short selling until May. Your head looks perfectly fine. I'm telling you, it does. It leaves a mark. It leaves like a little greasy spot if you wear it too long. Okay, so you say it was a technical trade. Oh, actually, I was thinking about this the other day, Greg, because you were saying, "Oh, I could make a video, and I can just make it private." Why don't you just get on Discord with your mic and just sit with me while I write it? Then you see exactly what I'm doing. Earbuds are great, but don't jam them in your ear. Mm-hmm. You say something like the next GME, I think people would, yeah, probably. Is silver the next GME? And then they'd be like, no, you're one of those shills. How much are the hedge funds paying you, Seth? Well, I tell you what, if you are a hedge fund and you would like to pay me, you are welcome, just like anybody else, to give me chat, to give me a donation. By the way, somebody gave me a donation and I don't think I caught it. Did you guys do that while I was away? It doesn't show it to me. Maybe it was donated anonymously? Well, that's kind of weird. Yeah, I'm scrolling back through it, and I don't see the highlighted message. Maybe they put the donation out and immediately deleted it or something. Well, whoever that was, and it saw Steven deleted a message. It could be that one. Thank you very much for whoever did that. The master clickbaiter, no. I'm hedge fun. I'm cheap though. Well, I at this point I would be it's really frustrating to me because I understand things about market microstructure, and I'm just looking at the things that people on Wall Street Bet saying, and they don't line up with what we know about markets. And so everything that I say is kind of in line with what hedge funds would want me to say. So it's I'm just going to tell people the truth, and if the hedge funds want to pay me for it, then that would be great. It's just Are you on live chat? I'm not sure what you mean. Yeah, I do. People believe in idea. I don't know. This is the thing is that who's selling, right? Nobody that posts on Wall Street Bets that's getting upvoted is selling. But you have to think there's some smart money out there that has decided to sell. It could be Vanguard. That's my theory, is Vanguard is liquidating on us and we're holding the bag for Vanguard. That's my theory. That's my theory. People believe in idea, they don't have experience. Well, yeah, I just think it's so funny that somebody can come in and they can say, the reason it's going down is because of short laddering, and everybody just goes, oh, okay, that makes sense. With no evidence or proof of anything that's what's happening. How do you prove? The only way that you would prove that short laddering is going on is if you had the communications between two market makers coordinating buying and selling to push it down. But second of all, they're saying that it's a short ladder just because it's going down and the volume is lighter than it was last week. Well, price can move on low volume, guys. Why is it that we traded through 38,1650 and only 911 contracts traded when everywhere else is trading like 4,000 or 6,000? Well, I'll tell you why. Because there was informed trading came in and pushed price down through that move so quickly that they weren't able to trade it. Which brings me to another contention that I have here. And I believe that I am making this claim based off of what I have learned about modeling, but in this particular case, I'm going to say that I don't 100% understand this model completely, and they didn't necessarily put this particular consequence of that model out there. I'm kind of reading a little bit into it on my own, but it seems to me that if you see high volume trade at a location, it does not necessarily mean that there was high interest in trading there. It just means that they were stuck and they had no choice. Often that is the case, is that they didn't have any choice but to trade there. And so it really is not an indication of anything. $22 million and you hold for internet points? Are you talking about Raging Kitty? Well, I think that Raging Kitty thought that, or is it Roaring Kitty? I think it's Raging Kitty. That guy has to feel, I don't know. I mean, so remember that he sold on the way up and that he pocketed 17 million of it on its own, right? It's Roaring Kitty. Okay. He pocketed, like, he still has millions of dollars. It's just he has $17 million instead of like $50 million or whatever it is. But you say he has to be dumb to not sell? Well, if he had sold it, probably would have constrained price. They might not have gotten as high. Just saying. And if he had sold on the way down, it would have gone down faster on him. But I don't think that he held just for internet points. I think he held because he didn't think that the short squeeze was over. And he's still holding. So is he holding for internet points? I don't know. Listen, I'll tell you this much. People are going to have a lot more respect for Roaring Kitty than they are David Portnoy. Well, I held. Do I get? No, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care whether Seth held or not. The crazy thing is he wasn't even betting on a short squeeze. He truly believes in GameStop. Well, yeah, but even if you truly believed in GameStop, you would still have a price target that's not going to be in the hundreds of dollars. Not giving you a hard time in standard operating procedure. Thanks. I don't know why. I really was yesterday thinking a lot. I became quite preoccupied with why does the Orbix data show that the shorts have covered, and why when I initially saw that data did I not believe it and just sell everything. And I became really preoccupied with that. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, like, do I care how much I actually make on this trade? It's like one share, it's not a lot. So I don't think that really has any impact on me. But I think that the thing that does have an impact on me is that I want, like, the credit. You know what I mean? Like, what is the thing that I complain about the most? That I built this indicator that I believe is effective at predicting tops and bottoms in Bitcoin, and, like, nobody believes me or cares. And that's the thing that, like, drives me nuts the most, right? And I think it's because I want the credit. I want my Nobel Peace Prize, damn it. I think that that's it. So then I look at this and I'm like, oh, well, see, Raging Kitty or Roaring Kitty, he's getting it. He's getting the credit. And David Portnoy, well, he got a lot of attention, but not necessarily the devotion and respect from people. You know what I mean? I feel like maybe he took some cash and he might buy more when it all settles down. Yeah. You know, the funny thing is that he has said that he used to only trade in a couple of stocks, and then now he owns something like 100. So he has money in like 100 of these really, like deep value plays, apparently. So we will see how he performs in the future, because he's still going to have those trades, and we can see how well those do. Also, I don't think he's done a stream since all of that, right? I really wonder what he's been doing lately. He did do an interview. Uzi says, I believe you. Oh, thank you, Uzi. You can write a testimonial and we can put it on the Patreon. We're talking about Roaring Kitty, the deep effing value guy that made millions of dollars off of the GameStop rise. Talking to lawyers, probably, yeah. Here's your Nobel Peace Prize. No, a peace. I want a Nobel Prize in economics. That's what it is. This is, I think, what I've been thinking about it, though. And I'm reading all of these studies and stuff. And I'm realizing, oh, I need to find a researcher. Why haven't I told you guys about this? Because I've been thinking about it. No, we need to get into it. We need to find a researcher. We need to become best friends with a scholarly researcher that has published papers about market microstructure or economics in some form. That's what I need to do. If you know somebody that has done economic research that is willing to be my buddy, you send them my way. And I am going to start searching around. I'm going to start searching. Maybe there are people that have published models about Bitcoin and I could talk to them. Okay, that's what I'm going to research today. Let's see if we can find any scholarly articles about models trying to model the price of Bitcoin. A study buddy. Yeah, that's what I really want. I think of thinking about it because I'm reading these market microstructure things and I'm learning a lot from them. But then there's plenty of other things that I go in and I say, well, I've noticed this. I think that here's something that you should look at, and here's something that you should look at, right? Like I said, didn't I even say on news that there's certain things that it seems like there would be something that would be worth researching? Professor at my school, publications about Bitcoin, econometrics professor. What's his name? I'll put him on my list and maybe I'll email him. Okay, I'll look that up after the stream. I'll try and find him. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that was the stuff from. Okay. Well, look at that. GameStop is having another little run here. And look, some pretty strong. Look, watch that volume number go up. There's some real volume coming into it. Should save this layout. I've made a few little changes. Something that has me skeptical is that the implied volatility in GameStop hasn't collapsed similar to post-earnings. It's coming down, but it hasn't crashed like the price. So option writers don't know anything more than the street, apparently. Oh, I think your analysis of that is right on, dude. I think that if you are trading options right now, that all you can really do is just write really big spreads, and knowing that a ton of people are going to buy options for crazy reasons, and even though you have literally no clue what's going to happen. Hence in those I would say that you're how do I say as an option buyer, I think you kind of have an advantage in those situations, at least if you get in early enough, because though it becomes a situation where the options buyers literally have no realistic way of pricing it, and it seems like no matter how high they price it, we still go through it. You know what I mean? Up until the point that we reach a top, and then it flips around. And then the writers have the advantage. Which is why they probably just continue to martingale on those. They just will keep taking it and taking it and taking it. He is a Montreal professor? Like, I would really like is maybe, there's like some economic professors up at the University of Utah doing some economics, and they need a programmer, and they're willing to pay me more than what I work for now, and that would be the perfect job for me, really, wouldn't it? But I don't think that job exists. I refer you to my paper, Market Data and Bitcoin, a correlation versus causation. Market Today, Ace Trades, Janet Yellen, John. You wrote a paper with Janet, really? But both of the words that you put in there were excellent, Ace, says RJ. Well, oh, that's great, man. By the way, what is the weather going to be like this week in Utah? You guys over on the East Coast doing okay with all that snow that you got? Pause that. Looks like we're going to get slight snow on Saturday, but it looks pretty clear. We got Florida cold. Ooh. Is it nasty when Florida gets cold? That's really nice, actually. Oh, okay. But I mean, like, does it ever get below freezing? You got, Greg says 10 inches of snow and lots of ice. Oh man, that was always the worst when I was in Missouri, was the ice storms, man. It would rain and then freeze out. That stuff is nasty. You don't want to mess. That was like, we as missionaries, we would try going out. I remember one day it was like, okay, let's go out. And I was all hardcore. and we kind of have like a little hill. It's not a big hill. It's just, it's like 10 feet high hill maybe, coming off of our apartment. And we're like slipping down the hill. And then my companion, he kind of cut himself. So like we're going back up and we're like, I don't know if we can actually go out. And then when we finally got back in, and after we had done all of that, then we got the call from the mission president that was like, don't go out. It's an ice storm. Just stay in. And that was, I never did that again. I was like, anytime that there was an ice storm or there was snow on the sidewalk ice, we weren't going out. It's certainly not on bikes. That time I wasn't on bikes. We were just walking, but still, it was so bad. Oh my gosh. Walking up a hill of ice, that's, yeah. Had 30-degree wind chill last night, but that's about it. Oh, okay. Okay. Sure. Well, I was thinking, because I'm like, what do I got to do to get Ace to come up here? I want him to come up here because I want to show him my code and try some ideas and see what we come up with. you know? Because I think I might show him the code and he might be like, oh, no, that's wrong. It should be like this and it should be like this, you know? And we could add stuff. But I got to convince him to come up here. I could come down there. I'm going to be down in Sandy. I'm intending to be down in Sandy on Saturday. I was going to go last week, but it was snowing, so I didn't go. I was going to go down to my gym. So I'm going to go to the gym, and then that's all halfway there, and then I could just continue. But it'd be better if I could convince him to come up here. He might not be on anymore, though. He's not saying anything. Is there another point of control play in ZB? Does it come back down again? Yes, it did. Interesting. I have to say, the Treasuries have been awfully wishy-washy lately, haven't they? Oh, it's bus time. Gotcha. You come back. We'll talk. I want to see if we can get together this weekend. It's 25 in ES. Yeah. But here again, this is where I'm saying, like, okay. So here's the point of control at around 25 in the E-mini. It's a little bit below where the open was, okay? Is that the point of control because a lot of people thought that was a significant price and wanted to trade it? Or is it because it just happened to be there for a while and people wanted to take trades and they had no choice? What do you think? Fifth red day in a row. Thought we were pivoting. ZB got above yesterday's low twice. Now below again. Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing that I actually find a little bit frustrating about the Treasuries right now is that we are in a pretty good, strong looking downtrend, but they only move in the overnight session. It's like the overnight session, they open up, they immediately push down, and then in the regular session, they don't do squat. Yeah, GME moving up again. That trend's looking okay. I'm going to be a little concerned about this topping off around 110 and not getting as high. But so far, a good push. It looks like maybe the balance of power over there has changed. Maybe, like we were saying, maybe there was somebody really big that was selling and maybe they're done now or something, you know? Is futures tax free if you don't? No, that's not the way that it works. So, futures, you're going to basically be charged the day trading tax rate, which is going to be like whatever your tax bracket is, right? But futures fall under a special rule where it's 60-40 or something like that. So I don't remember which side it is. I think it's so that 40% of your profits will get taxed at the long-term capital gains tax rate, and the other portion of it will be taxed at your regular tax bracket rate, right? But here is where I really think the risk reward for you in terms of taxes is really beneficial for you in futures in particular, because if you make money, you're able to pay a lower fee compared to day trading stocks, and if you lose money, you just write those off on your taxes and you save a ton of money on your taxes, right? So it's like, Seth, correct, I paid about 19% on the years that I won. There you go. Yeah, so I'll be able to write off some losses this year, and I think that I'm hoping. My wife started it and kind of only got so far. I need to pick it back up, doing the taxes. But I'm gonna bet you that because of another combination, a whole combination of factors, that is going to be a pretty big refund this year. Because they're gonna refund me some stimulus and that we didn't get, and have an extra kid on it this year and all this stuff. If anyone asked, you tell the IRS you're a corn farmer who trades the market to ensure a profit. No, but that it doesn't. I don't think that it matters if you're a farmer. I mean, that's why the loophole exists there, but they don't check that you're a farmer. I mean, how would they be able to do that? So it's not a thing on the... How much you get taxed depends on the account you sell those futures on. So I bought all those cows and tractors for nothing. It's funny because some of the best traders that I've met. So I remember when Bots was still running his room, and I would listen in, and I would talk way too much. That was kind of part of why I was like, oh, let's just start a stream, because I would yap all the time, and it was distracting to people, right? But there was some guys that they were straight up farmers, and they did good. Like they were amazing. They took some trades that I was like, well, what the hell are you thinking? Like, he would take a trade and it would go against them, and he'd be like, oh, no, don't worry about it. It'll come back. And it always did. Always did somehow. He knew. But he was like more like a swing trade. And that guy, Opie in particular, would, he had made some money from doing it. I don't know if I would say that he was like profitable all the time. I think that he had a period where he made a ton of money and then a period where he lost some of it. But I was really impressed. Not sure how it works down in the South. We don't get taxed if we trade within our registered tax. Is futures tax free if you don't sell? Well, if you never sell it, then I guess the taxes will just get applied to the next year's. But you can only hold it till the end of the contract, right? Then you have to roll it over. You're going to have to pay the tax on it at some point, as the point. But you're going to pay less tax on it than if you traded the equities. So it really is like, I just don't get, if you want to day trade, the only reason you should day trade stocks is if your edge is in things that are specific to stocks, like that your edge is in quantitative models that tell you how to price options, or your edge is in information about companies in a specific industry, right? But if you just are like, I want to trade and I want to get good at trading, and you're dedicated, I don't see why you would go over to equities, because like everything is in favor of the futures. Definitely still need to drive into econometrics and financial programming, still working on statistics and statistical software. Well, it's interesting that when you look at the math, it seems like it's really complicated math, but then when you actually go down to programming and stuff, like they're actually pretty simple models. That's kind of a funny thing about it. June ES has 933 contracts traded. That's interesting. Okay, well, they look like maybe they've run into a little bit of resistance around 100 again. I mean, that was where they fought a lot at the open. Man, I got this thing, like, I'm thirsty, but I need to go to the bathroom again. I'm not retaining water for some reason. What do you got to do to make yourself retain water? Maybe I needed to eat more. Is it more salt? So am I not eating enough sodium? Could be. Electrolytes, there you go. I need some Gatorade. I think you're right. I think I need some Gatorade. I just like My mouth is dry. We're going to take a break. I'm going to take a break. I'll be back. Sodium isn't bad if you're healthy and is actually really essential if you're pushing your body in gym sport. Yeah, I think so. I think that in many cases I don't eat enough salt, honestly, but. Oh, hit that like button. Yeah, thank you very much. By the way, if you didn't check out my video yesterday or Monday about trading the news, make sure you give that video a watch and a like. I think I need to modify my picture on that one. Let's come back and look at that. I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, well, let's give it a little bit more time. Because the video actually, like the number of views that it got was pretty good. But the click-through rate on it was apparently not that good. Oops, what am I doing here? Wrong thing. Salt and pepper calamari. And Treasuries held daily. Well, they came. They really bounced up, didn't they? I think I would be really frustrated by this action. I bet you that probably we could see those and trade them and everything, but that's not what I would probably be looking for, you know? Pink Himalayan, so that's what my parents eat, actually. Okay. I think it's so funny. Like my day trading computer hardware video gets so many hits. It gets like almost 500 hits a day. And I'm like, well, it's a good video, but I didn't think it was that good. So now I'm thinking like, what else? What are other videos that I can make that would get as much traffic as that? Well, I thought that trading the news might be one of them. At least I thought that trading the news could be like 100 views a day one, like my what is the best futures trading platform. We'll see. So when you come in here and look at the reach, 2.5. And we would really like that to be more like 5 to 10%. So see the thumbnail right there? Trading the news. So apparently I need a more clickbaity title. So what do you think would be a more clickbaity title for trading news? Walk through jigsaw. I could make some videos like that, but I think so. The thing that I think makes the trading computer video so good is because it's a more general thing. Like futures is very, very narrow. There's only so many people looking for futures, but there's a lot of people looking for a trading computer right now. I don't know how many people are searching for trading news, but that's what we want to get in there. Big money events. It needs to say that this is a video about how to trade the news, but is more clickbaity. Not clickbaity, but like gets the attention. One of the issues is I didn't put myself in there because I didn't think that I had a good... I need to do another photo shoot is what I need to do. I didn't feel like I had a good picture of me to put in there for that. And I was thinking of making the so the words on the thumbnail. I mean, what the title of the video should stay trading the news because for search engines, right? But I was thinking maybe for the thumbnail, I should say why you should trade news, because that's really what the video is. But then I was like, yeah, but I don't think that you should tell people that they should do or not do some strategy. You know what I mean? So then how do I rephrase that? Why trade news? I don't know. That's not that. I don't think that helps. We need to get like a higher, so that all these people that are trading Robinhood, right? And they're, just browsing along and Google says, this is a video that you might be interested in. And they will see that and they'll see my lovely face and the clickbaity title and they go, oh, I want to learn about trading news so that I can become rich. That's what we need. You need a better thumbnail. Maybe I should go and ask these guys on some of these Discords. Creator Discords. Well, of course, we shouldn't tell people what to do. Thumbnails that get people's attention to tell someone to do something right. What percentage of your income is from trading? So we make a certain amount from this stream. I lost money last year from trading. It's very much a hobby thing for me. So if I do really well, maybe I might make 500 to 1,000 a month if I'm doing well. So make it a how to trade the news. That was the one of the other ones I thought. But then I just thought, well, let's just make the screen really big, because I think that color and like the charts and everything looks really good. It's just my understanding is that if they see a picture of you with like your mouth open, that they're more likely to click it because of that. So because if we come back, let's see here. Let me find a different one. Well, so this is the one. This is one that's kind of interesting. But yeah, so this is a great example. Oops. Wait, what the hell? Oh, it didn't. It came back out. Okay. Okay. So you see this one. It has a 5.7% click-through rate. And when it was first starting out, it was as high as 10%. And there was nothing really... I think that it was the title that I put in there, because there's nothing all that special about me. The soy foot face? What? What is that? Soy face? Yeah, that's exactly what I need. Except for, I think instead of it being like, wow, it needs to be like, whoa, right? I think I need one like that. Whoa. I get my dad to come over and take pictures. Are you going to make a 5K subscriber video? Yeah. Not this week, though. I think, no, wait, is it this week? No, it's next week. I might try, well, I think that this week I'm going to try and make another backtesting video, actually, to be honest with you, if I make a video this week. And then next week, my wife, I have to watch the baby. My wife is doing some training stuff. So then I'll probably do it the week after that. And hopefully by then I will have found a better solution for the microphone, because I don't want to have to do the chalkboard with the microphone in one spot again. I want to be able to walk around. But I promised you guys that I would do the day trading Nirvana video if we got to 5,000 subscribers. So I will make the day trading Nirvana video. Soy face plus Fortnite. I think that good thumbnails that are super generic that are a good example from Fortnite YouTube Alley. Yeah. I find it interesting though. Like the videos that I've done that do the best, you come in here, are like, look at the ones that do the best every day. I think that it has more to do with the content. Like this one, what is the best futures trading software platform? That just was a thumbnail from, that was just a screenshot from the video itself. Right? These ones do okay too. I actually worked hard on that thumbnail, and I think, okay, it was 5.7, so it did okay. Have you noticed if your subscriptions grow faster depending on how many separate videos you post outside of streaming? I think it does. Yeah, I think I can do that if I go to audience and subscribers and we go to like the last 90 days. So if we remove that, you'll notice that, well, and let's change it to be, I think I have to go into this one. I think I go into this one and yeah. I can say monthly lifetime. We'll do lifetime. Oh, that's not very good. Custom. We'll pick from March of 2018. So from March of 2018 to January of 2021. Well, let's just, yeah, to here. And that should get out like those really big outliers. Okay. Subscribers by video. So you can see, where are most of my subscribers coming from? From this trading hardware video. Isn't that interesting? And if we just do total, you can see how in January, which was, well, I guess it's not completely over, but you know, there is a correlation between how many videos I post and how many subscribers I get. So you're right. It's kind of hard to see in there, but the basic gist of it is that the thing that gets me the most subscribers tends to be individual videos. On average, how many hours you put into these videos? It seems like it would take forever. It depends on the video. So that news one, that one part of the reason why I kind of like mentioned it a bunch of times is because I put so much time into that. Like during the Christmas holiday, I was like 2 or 3 days where the time that I would normally be trading, so like the 2 or 3 hours I would normally be trading, I just was looking into that. and then I would spend even more time like during the day. And then I think I recorded it twice, and then editing it was really hard too. And so I think that one overall, I probably spent over 20 hours doing it. The computer hardware video, that one was probably like an hour to record it and an hour. So that's maybe like 3 hours to make. I could tell that was a great video. Oh, good. So it was like a lot of research and a lot of thinking, and I didn't think that my delivery was that good on it, so I had to edit it quite a bit. Do you know that candy and chocolate are healthier than bread? Oh, well, I mean, maybe based on some factors, but not. That's funny. Oh my gosh, I spilled there a little bit. I'm sold. I'll watch it now. It wasn't even just that I had spent so much time on it. It was something that we had been talking about for months. That and I've had like, man, it's especially on the Facebook groups, man. When I go on the Facebook groups and you tell people news is like an important part of your trading, and people will be like, no, all you have to do is look at technicals, and the technicals will already tell you what the news is before the news even hits. And that's just false. Like, that's not been my experience. My experience is that I'll hear something on the news squawk and I see people trying to click as quickly as they can. Like, market reacts to news. And if you don't factor it into your trading, you're like at a distinct disadvantage from what I can see. And yet many retail traders still believe this, that you don't need to use news. You don't need to be informed about what the markets are doing. You just need to know as much as possible about technical analysis. And I think that's wrong. I built my computer in my junior year in high school almost 8 years ago, and it's still running like a dream. Should I be scared to trade on it? I get sketched out sometimes. Probably would be okay. But I would probably get a new one. News smacked that good ISM today. Well, yeah, that's a really good point, right? We moved down because of the news coming out about the stimulus bill. Now, that one is really interesting because all that was just some people kind of spitballing about what they think the next steps are on whether or not they can change it so that the stimulus is based, less people get it. And the market really reacted to it. Now, it wasn't like some of these other ones with the stimulus where it was like, oh, we're not going to get the stimulus 100 points down. Like, that's happened too, right? Yeah, people like to use a moving average to detect a trend, but forget the action around news will confirm a shift in sentiment sooner, makes a difference in a few percentages, and is annoying to program. Yeah, well, and there's a place where, another thing that irks me is when people, and that was what my first set of videos have been. So you notice that my videos tend to be, I see retail traders doing this, and they should be doing this. I see traders trading on Robinhood, and they would be better off day trading on futures. I see traders trading off of chart patterns and candlesticks, and they should really be factoring in order flow into their analysis too. I see people trading on laptops, and if you're day trading, you should probably use a desktop. That's why I make those videos, right? And the next one that we're going to make, the day trading Nirvana one, is day traders think that they can just look at one thing and make good decisions about trading, when the reality is that the more you understand about the whole system, the better you're going to do. Yeah, I would say here, if I'm streaming and I'm encoding on my CPU, then when big market events hit, we use all of the CPU power. And that's a first generation Ryzen. You can go and get that for like $100. Blunt says is wrong. Well, you're wrong, Blunt, and I have statistical information to prove it too. So you've come in and you've said, well, you should use this indicator and this indicator, but I haven't actually seen any stats. And when I went and I did the stats myself, I was like, well, it's okay, but it's not any better than the other stuff that I look at. The fact of the matter is this: markets incorporate a lot of information into the price. There are some people out there that are literally only trading news, and there are some people that are literally only trading their technical analysis, and there are some people that are literally only trading like their model about what something should be priced based off of some other asset. Or maybe they're just doing correlation, or maybe they're just doing market making, right? Market making and factoring in when there's informed trading coming in and pulling your bids to account for that increased activity in that direction so that you don't get caught taking on inventory against the trend, right? Okay. So if you factor in all of those things, what makes you think that if you just look at this one thing that like that's always going to work? It doesn't. There's going to be these situations where you're going to look at your moving average and you're going to say, well, my moving average is moving up, but I also know that the market is really upset about X thing and that overall it's been a down day. So you got to factor that in. You know what I mean? So the more that you can factor, the more that you understand about the system and the more information you can factor in, the better your probability is going to be of being able to make correct forecasts. I want to say predictions. That the better your forecasts will be. Moving averages should be thought of as price aggregation levels. Well, listen, here's the thing. The reason that moving averages are popular is because it's the simplest way to determine what the trend is. You're using one bar, that's not going to tell you what the trend is. But if you use an average of bars, then it gives you a better idea of what the trend is. And the more bars that you include, the better it indicates the long-term direction, but the longer the lag will be. So then they started making moving averages that accounted for that, so that it was able to account for when there was a short-term change in direction faster, but was still largely indicative of the larger trend, so that little small aberrations didn't screw you up. And that's where you get things like the super smoother, and they are faster. And if you go and you backtest them, they do perform better. Whole moving average being another one that we've shown back tests better than traditional moving averages, right? But it is still essentially, with the best practices and everything that we can put them into there, they are break even. I am teaching them to trade blunt, and I'm like providing like actual data, right? We can go and find a bunch of studies that show how like they went and they took like a news feed and like how many news stories they were and what their machine learning algorithm noted as the significance of those news, and then correlated them to market movements, and they proved that news moves markets. They've proven that. And meanwhile, I've read at least 5 studies where researchers tried to prove that there were technical edges in the markets and they couldn't find one. Do you know what it was called? I bet you I could find it again. Trading news study. It was a fairly recent one too, actually. Well, here's one. Here we go. An investigation of market microstructure impacts on event study returns. That's not what it was. The market microstructure of bank intervention. So there would be one that's telling you, okay, central bank intervention has an impact on the markets. So you think that you should understand what the central bank is doing? Yes, you should. That's not the one that I was looking for. Or maybe it was informed trading. Man, it was a study that was released in like May, and I found it from going to these. I have like a bunch of these, but like you can go to Journal of Quantitative Finance, for instance. And then I can come in here and I can say, okay, trading microstructure, recent snapshot, flash loan attack on DeFi ecosystem. Oh, that's interesting. Efficient modeling and forecasting of the electricity spot price. Oh, that's interesting. I'm not going to read it, but optimal trading signals with stochastic price impact. Okay, that one is, when was that? 26th of January? I think I'll open that one up. That might have something for us. Deep learning. I don't know. Where was the one that we just had? How news affects the trading behavior of different categories of investors in the market. And here's read the full text right here. Let's just read the abstract, shall we? We investigate the trading behavior of a large set of single investors trading the highly liquid Nokia stock index of the period from 2003 to 2008, with the aim of determining the relative role of endogenous and exogenous factors that may affect their behavior. As endogenous factors, we consider returns and volatility, whereas the exogenous factors we use are the total daily number of news and a semantic variable based on sentiment analysis of news. Linear regression and partial correlation analysis of the data show that different categories of investors are differently correlated to these factors. Governmental and nonprofit organizations are weakly sensitive to news and returns or volatility, and typically they are more correlated with the former than with the latter. Households and companies, on the contrary, are very sensitive to both endogenous and exogenous factors, and volatility and returns are, on average, much more relevant than the number of news and sentiment, respectively. Finally, financial institutions and foreign organizations are intermediate between these two cases in terms of both the totally explanatory power of these factors and the relative importance. All right. Interesting that the average volatility and returns of the instrument tend to be more relevant in terms of the explanatory value of these factors, but they are saying that news is something that affects markets. That's not the study that I read. The study that I read, man, was way better than that. Did I save it somewhere? Where would I have put that? Let's have that comp, my friend. No, here's what we should do. You should show evidence that you have anything. Why would I go in and do some competition with somebody? Some joker comes on the internet and says, I know X thing, but they don't provide any proof or any evidence or scholarly evidence or their own performance or a back test to prove any of what they're saying. And then you want to have a competition with me? Like, dude, why would I waste my time with that? Are you not even willing to show me what you've done in the past? I'm not going to waste my time with that. It would be better for you to just come in and say, here's my performance lately and here's how I do it. And then we could go in and we could say, okay, over the past 5 years, this person has made money every year based almost completely on moving averages and stochastics and Fisher transforms or whatever the deal is, without going into exactly what the edge is. And then we could say that. But I'm going to bet you that that's not the case Because if that was the case, he would have already shown us. Furthermore, I think, something that I find funny is that a lot of the people that I find that say that like they're trading technicals, and then I go into like their trading strategy and stuff that have actually done this with me. Then I go in and I find out that actually they're factoring news and sentiment way more than they realize. Let's keep searching. There you go. Informed trading before positive news versus negative earnings surprises. News, trading, and speed. And look, economic news and the impact of trading on bond prices. Trading strategies to exploit blog and news sentiment. Okay, this one would be interesting. We use quantitative media, blogs, and news as a comparison generated by a large-scale natural language processing text analysis system to perform a comprehensive and comparative study on how company-related news variables anticipates or reflects the company's stock trading volumes and financial returns. Building on our findings, we give a sentiment-based market-neutral trading strategy which gives consistently favorable returns with low volatility over a long period. Our results are significant in confirming the performance of general blog and news sentiment analysis methods over broad domains and sources. Moreover, several remarkable differences between news and blogs are also identified. Here, look, you can read this whole PDF. Wait, I'll link you guys here. You can come and read this one because this sounds like this would be a pretty good study to show what we're showing. Like the thing is that I know like there was one study that I read recently that I thought was really good, but I know that there's been so many studies on this subject. That's why it just boggles my mind that so many retail traders come out and they say, don't ignore the news. You don't need to see the news. Just completely ignore it. When there have been so many studies on this fact, and that it is well established that news affects the price of assets. And here these guys are literally just using a neural network to read the news, and they're making money from doing it. And like one of my big things is that like we're finding all of these times where these robots are wrong about the news. Okay, so if you do it and you're even more efficient at it, should be able to do even better than the robot if you're fast, of course. Man, anyway, like here's the thing with the contest is like you could come in and you could show me that you were profitable in 2020 and then you could say that you won. Right? Like why should we do a contest when we can just look at our historical performance and see how they perform? You know what I mean? Seth, before you go, sure. Oh, it really is the time for me to go. I have a trading friend looking at Lilu trading. Watch some of the videos. It looks like if you win, you are not trading live. Yeah, so well, I've heard that with many other services. Never with TopStep, but some of the other competitors, they say that. I've never seen somebody like posted on Futures.io. So like for any of you, if you know somebody that can prove conclusively that what they've been funded and that the account that they're trading with is not a live account, you should tell them to go and post it on Futures.io, because there are some people that don't believe it apparently. But I've been shown it and told this by enough people that I'm pretty sure it's true. Why would it be? Well, when you're funded, you're supposed to be trading a live account, right? But what happens instead on some of these guys is they give you another sim account. And if you make money on that sim account, then you do get paid money. So I guess in that respect, it might as well be live trading. And then if you make a consistent amount after a certain amount of time, then they say, okay, we actually will risk our own capital on it then. Right? So isn't that funny that passing the combine isn't enough for them to feel confident risking their capital on you? What does that tell you? What does that tell you guys? And you pay you have to pay pro data fees if you get funded. That's another problem. No, they say you get a demo account linked to their live account. The main gist of what I've been told is that when you put a limit order out there, you don't see it on the market. You come in here and you'll put one like way far away, like at 38.13, and that 112 should change to a 113, and it doesn't. And you can't hold overnight unless it's a 10K micro account. Well, there you go. Anyways, that's what I've been told. What should we name today's video? Markets. Who gets stimulus? Cancel. It's all screwed up. News over everything. It tells it's a waste of time to trade with these funders, especially now that there are I agree. I don't know what's going on over here, but it's not letting me change the title of the video here. I should turn on my laptop while this is loading. Stimulus versus ISM. I mean, that would be a fair reading of it. I mean, the thing is that when the ISM number came out, the market really didn't react to it. I mean, that's common. Markets often don't react to it. Market frets. How do I say this? Who's getting the stimulus? That's today's video. GME versus suits, and yeah, that probably would get more views, frankly, wouldn't it? Or if we even just had GME in the title, but I don't know. GME is trading a little bit more volume today, but like yesterday it was like 70,000, right? And right now it's 23,000, so it kind of looks to me like there just is not as much activity. They did get some good movement going there, making it back to 100, but then it appears like there's some resistance there at 100, people taking profits there, which doesn't surprise me at a round number, doesn't it? But so you think that they can continue moving up the rest of the day? I don't know. I'm starting to think that the trade is just over. I am long on REEMF, correct. What is it today anyways? Ooh, it's up 10% today. Yay. That means that I made like $10 or something. Not $10. How much do I make off of that? Can come down here and look. Where is it? I made $20 on it today. Yay! Hey, look, I think we're doing pretty okay today. I'm really unhappy about this one, the MSTR. Look, the ask on that has actually gotten worse. It would cost me more to buy it now than when I bought it, but the bid hasn't increased at all. That's freaking retarded. Well, that's the way the volatility goes with options, isn't it? Looks like, well, who's doing the best today? Well, it looks like my silver position is doing okay. This one is still kind of mostly break even. So we'll see if the silver trade ever comes out or not. All right, guys, it's time for me to get going. I will see you guys tomorrow. Stay profitable, friends.